Oh, you know what time it is. Knowledge Whale's back. Slap, slap. Oh! Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. McDonald's has been taking advantage of their used cooking oil in the UK. Since 2007, they've been using the leftover oil as fuel for more than half of their fleet of delivery trucks. If you've ever wanted to know the difference between jam, jelly, preserves, and marmalade, well, here it is. Jam is a thick mixture of fruit, pectin, and sugar that's boiled rapidly until the fruit is soft but thick enough to spread easily. Jelly's different in that it's made from sugar, pectin, acid, and fruit juice that turns into a clear spread. Marmalade is a spread made from the peel and pulp of citrus fruit, which is cooked for a long time. And finally, preserves are chunks of fruit that's surrounded by jelly. Dr. Pepper was marketed as a warm holiday beverage in the 1960s. The idea was to heat it up in a saucepan until it lost all of its carbonation, and then pour the warm and sweet beverage over a lemon. During season 2 of the hit show I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball found out that she was pregnant. CBS agreed to write her pregnancy into the show, but the network demanded that the word pregnant was never to be used because it was considered too vulgar. Instead, they used the word expecting. Even though Steve Irwin loved every animal on Earth, there was one in particular that he thought didn't like him very much. During an interview with Scientific American magazine, he said, "For some reason, parrots have to bite me. That's their job. I don't know what it is." He also claimed that one almost ripped his nose off. China's responsible for producing 58% of the peaches in the world. Out of a worldwide production of 25 million metric tons, that's about 14.4 million metric tons. The CIP is the International Potato Center, which is located in Lima, Peru. They proved that it was possible to grow potatoes on Mars by simulating a Martian environment here on Earth. There's a superhero in the X-Men universe named Forget-Me-Not, whose superpower is that he's incapable of being remembered by anyone. Professor Charles Xavier actually had to set a psychic reminder in his head once an hour to remember that Forget-Me-Not even existed. The longest marriage ever recorded was 86 years by a North Carolina couple named Zelmira and Herbert Fisher. They got married on May 13, 1924, and stayed together until Herbert passed away in 2011 at 105 years old. Around 2 billion people in the Earth eat insects as part of their everyday diet. They're packed with protein along with being inexpensive. The only region where they're not considered part of a diet is in the West. Heisler Beer, or Heisler Gold Ale, is a prop beer made by Independent Studio Services that's used in numerous movies and television shows. It's appeared on Beer Fest, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Parks and Recreation. Go back and look for it, you'll find it. A blacksmith is someone who works with iron and steel, while a whitesmith works with white metal such as tin and pewter. There's also a brownsmith who works with brass and copper. The famous artist Leonardo da Vinci never had a last name because he was born out of wedlock. The Da Vinci part of his name came to be because he was born in the town Vinci, so his name means Leonardo of Vinci. In 1948, a local prankster in Florida named Tony Signorini would put on a pair of 13.6 kilogram three-toed shoes and walk along the beaches at night to create giant footprints in the sand. Locals began to believe that a 4.5 meter tall penguin was roaming the beaches until the mystery was solved in 1988. Whenever actor Kevin Bacon is invited to a wedding, he always bribes the DJ not to play the song Footloose. He does this because he does not wish to upstage the bride and groom on their big day. The world's largest book suddenly disappeared during some time in 1936 in Cleveland, Ohio. Titled The Golden Book of Cleveland, it was 2.1 meters by 1.5 meters by 1 meter thick and weighed 2,267 kilograms. To put that into perspective, that's about the same size as a queen-size bed. Almost every casino is designed in a way to avoid people from turning at a 90-degree angle when they walk. According to the book Addiction by Design, Machine Gambling in Las Vegas by Natasha Dow Schull, Making these sharp turns forces people to activate the decision-making part of their brains. Casinos want you to curve gently when you walk through them. According to a recent study by the University of Kansas, it takes 50 hours of socializing to go from an acquaintance to a casual friend. It takes another 40 hours to become a real friend, and a total of 200 hours to become a close friend. Fashion designer Coco Chanel was a spy for the Nazi Party and was an advocate during the Third Reich during World War II. She believed that Jewish people were a threat to the entirety of Europe. According to a study at the University of California, Davis, adding a small amount of seaweed to a cow's diet reduces their methane production by almost 60%. This discovery could lessen the amount of greenhouse gases that our bovine friends emit. People with anxiety, depression, or insomnia have reported that they get a better night's sleep when they sleep under a weighted blanket. These blankets are filled with plastic pellets and add weight and cost anywhere from $120 to more than $250. Singer Rihanna has her own holiday in her home country of Barbados. Since 2008, February 22nd has been Rihanna Day, and Prime Minister David Thompson announced it at an awards ceremony. Almost every mammal on Earth has the same number of vertebrae in its neck, which is 7. The only ones who do not have exactly 7 vertebrae are sloths and manatees. But they wouldn't know, because sloths are slow. On January 19th, 1977, it snowed in South Florida for the first time in recorded history. Retired meteorologist Jim Lusheen somehow thought that cocaine was falling from the sky after perhaps a bad drug drop had gone bad. June 11th is Corn on the Cob Day. Every ear of corn has an even number row of kernels, and there are 800 kernels on an average ear. Many foods in nature consist of an even number of rows and lines. For example, watermelons have an even number of stripes on them. A coconut can be classified as either a fruit, a nut, or a seed. Every part of a coconut can be used as they produce food, fiber, drink, utensils, fuel, and instruments. This is why many consider them to be the tree of life. In 1987, there were only 27 California condors left in the world. They were all captured for captive breeding, and now there are 488 of them as of 2018. The first ever in-flight radio transmission came in 1910 when Walter Wellman, 5 of his companions, and his cat flew across the Atlantic Ocean. The message said, "Roy, come and get this goddamn cat." The SR-71 Blackbird isn't really black. It was actually painted indigo blue with a mixture of microscopic iron ferrite balls. The tiny balls would make the radar signal and heat dissipate. Actor Joe Pesci from hit movies such as Goodfellas and My Cousin Vinny released a rap song in 1998 called Wise Guy. Seriously, look it up, it exists. Really, he stated that he had originally wanted to be a musician before his father pushed him into acting. There are only 4 musical artists or groups who have a Billboard Top 40 single from the 1980s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. Michael Jackson, Madonna, U2, and Weird Al Yankovic. Comedian Jon Stewart was a walk-on soccer player during his college days at William & Mary. He even scored the only goal in the game that propelled the team to the NCAA tournament. Researchers at Trent University in Ontario, Canada, tested the DNA of the chicken that's served at Subway. They discovered that the sample of chicken they tested was only about 50% chicken. The rest was soy filler. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was closer to us in time than it was to the Stegosaurus. In fact, the Stegosaurus was already a fossil by the time the T-Rex appeared. A fossil of the Titanoboa wasn't discovered until 2009. They were the largest snakes ever, measuring 2.8 meters and weighed 1,133 kilograms. They were able to reach these monstrous sizes due to the warmer climate on Earth 58 to 60 million years ago. Today, smaller snakes can be found farther away from the equator, while the larger ones are closer to it. The US Secret Service does not allow any president to go to the top of the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri. The only president who was the exception to this rule was Dwight D. Eisenhower when he visited the monument in 1967 at 77 years old. The arch is actually closed to the public, he insisted on riding the tram to the top. Many Americans considered celery to be a popular delicacy in the early 1900s. There were many different ways to order it at restaurants, such as mashed celery, fried celery, and celery tea. Kalamazoo, Michigan was also known as the celery capital of the world. Astronomers have calculated that it takes the sun 226 million years to completely orbit around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The sun has completed this orbit only 20.4 times since it was formed 4.6 billion years ago, and the last time that it was in its current position, dinosaurs roamed the Earth. There is always a lunar eclipse 15 days before or after a solar eclipse. In 2018, a Wisconsin man had to have all of his limbs amputated after he contracted a rare blood infection from his dog's saliva. The infection severely bruised his arms and legs, which decreased his circulation. According to the Center for Disease Control, people are more at risk for contracting this bacteria when they have a weak immune system. One of the earliest house structures ever are huts found along the Dnieper River in the Ukraine, and they date back to between 23,000 BC and 12,000 BC. They were also made of mammoth bones, and large pits have been found near them that contain stone tools, bone fragments, and ash. Winston Churchill might have had a bit of a drinking problem. His daily habits were 3 to 4 weak whiskey sodas, a bottle of wine or champagne with lunch, and another with dinner, and finished off with either cognac or brandy. Robert Kennedy had 11 children with his wife Ethel before he was assassinated in 1968. They also had 35 grandchildren. The producers of the Disney film The Lion King originally wanted the musical group ABBA to write the songs, but they were not available. They ended up choosing their second favorite choice, Elton John. There's a statute in England that forbids anyone from entering the Houses of Parliament wearing a suit of armor. This has been enforced since King Edward II decreed the law in 1313. It's stated that every man shall come without force and armor. Almost 40% of Vietnamese people share the same last name. The top 14 most popular names make up 90% of the population. The most popular last name is Nguyen. For comparison, the top 14 last names in the United States only make up fewer than 6%. Ken Imhoff spent 17 years building a Lamborghini Countach in his basement. He fell in love with the car after watching the movie Cannonball Run. He eventually put the car up for sale on eBay and sold to the highest bidder in Florida for $89,000 US. It cost him $65,000 to build it. The comic character Garfield's favorite food was almost pizza because illustrator Jim Davis said that it was easier to draw than lasagna. The lovable and lazy cat's favorite dish first appeared in the comic strip in July 15, 1978, where he says it's nature's most perfect food. Jedi Master Yoda's species is still a mystery. It's never been determined in the Star Wars universe. Much of his early life is also a mystery, as it has never been stated where he was born, but simply a remote planet. The largest irrigated crop in the United States is lawn grass, according to the International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing. Every year we give our lawns so much water that it's almost enough to fill the Chesapeake Bay. Thank you to everyone for subscribing to my channel, and a very special thanks to all of my channel members, especially the ones you see on screen right now. Every single one of you helps keep my channel going. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.